Hello, horse owners. I'm Alex Beckstedt here at My New Horse, and I'm excited to introduce today's webinar about horse grooming, brought to you by Absorbine, which makes a lot of trusted and innovative horse care products. Today, I'm joined by lifelong horsewomen Morgan Palmer and Eileen Shaw, who are team members at WF Young, the maker of Absorbine. They'll be sharing with us some of their favorite tips and tricks when it comes to grooming and bathing horses. And with that, I will hand it over to Morgan and Eileen.
Hi everyone, we are so excited to walk you guys through the tips and tricks for nose-to-toes grooming. So a little bit about Absorbine and WF Young. Absorbine was started by a husband and wife duo. Mary Ida Young was an herbalist in late 19th century Massachusetts, and she knew that there had to be a more humane way to care for horses than the caustic treatments of the day. So a common practice back then was something called blistering a horse to heal an injury, because it was believed that an increased blood flow to the area would speed healing, but it was really kind of a harsh treatment, and she wasn't a big fan of that. So she created an herbal tincture that is now known today as the Absorbine veterinary liniment. It is a 132-year-old formula that we still sell today. And her husband Wilbur would sell it during his piano roots, and it would later lead to becoming one of the most trusted equine health brands in the world.
Here is a little bit of a timeline of what Absorbine has done over the past 132 years. So as Eileen said, the first product that was started by Mary Ida Young was the Absorbine veterinary liniment that is both now in a liquid as well as a gel that many of you have probably used on your horses. That was started in 1892. And then not too long after that, we had the wonderful grooming line Shoshin hair polish and detangler that was brought to the market and quickly became the world's #1 detangler and grooming aid for the horse world. Then soon after that, in 1991, we had the Ultra Shield fly control products were launched and eventually became a full line of fly control to help owners protect about those pesky wide range of pests that we have to deal with on a daily basis. Then following that, WF Young acquired the Magic Cushion hoof packing that extended our commitment to the farriers and the horse world of really caring for animals from their nose to their hooves. Then we are very excited to bring along the Silver Honey Rapid Wound line to market that combines Manuka honey and micro silver. This is both an ointment and a spray gel that took the world by shock of how to heal animals in a natural and a fast, effective way. That line grew very quickly, with a medicated shampoo coming out a few years later, and then a scratch spray that just launched this year that has been helping healing that pesky pastern dermatitis that many of us has dealt with. This year, we are also celebrating the 50th year of Shoshin that we are super excited about for more to come this year, and the horse community joining the legacy of what Shoshin has done throughout the years.
So a little bit more about us. So as Alexandra said, we are both lifelong horsewomen. So I'm the equine brand manager here at WF Young. So I'm responsible for executing the marketing strategies for all of those brands that you know and love, like Ultra Shield, Shoshin, Silver Honey, and so much more. So my ultimate dream growing up my whole life was to own a horse, and I finally got to have that dream come true a couple of years ago. So my horse Granby is a 17-year-old American quarter horse gelding. I started leasing him about 5 years ago, absolutely loved him, and I finally got the chance to buy him 2 summers ago. So even though we've been together for about 5 years now, I've been his sole owner for 2, and he's wonderful. He can be a little bit of a grump, but he's a big teddy bear. And as you can see, he's pretty goofy and likes to stick his tongue out quite a bit. So I adore him.
So as you heard earlier, my name is Morgan Palmer. I have been a part of the equestrian community probably since before my first steps. I have a photo of me at, I think, 3 months old on my first horse. My family was a part of the equestrian community. My grandparents owned a local horse farm that I was able to be around horses every weekend and every summer. I couldn't wait to get to the barn after school on Fridays. As many of you know, every girl's dream is to own a horse, and I was lucky enough at 3 years old to get my first horse named Candy, who was the mother of Bambi, who is the buckskin in the bottom of the page. So I have grown up with her. We have been together for the past 22 years, and April will be her birthday. I was able to be there for her birth, which was such a special moment, and go along with her training till now as she's in her retirement. I also bought Reggie a very sassy Arabian. As many of you know, Arabians can be very sassy, who is my little jumper, who is now 27 this year, which is crazy to think I got him at 19. And we've been together for the past about 8 years. They are my best friends and they love each other very much. We've been together for a very long time. And it was my dream to work in the horse community. Wasn't sure in what aspect that was. I went from being a barn manager to working at Dover Saddlery for a little while, and my dream came true when I became the marketing assistant at WF Young, and I've had the opportunity to work with many of our wonderful sponsored riders and coordinating many of the events that we attend, such as Equine Affair, which has been a dream come true.
All right, so getting into our grooming tips. So these are what we call your grooming go-tos. So some of the essential tools and products that you want to make sure that you have in your grooming kit. So from brushes, your curry comb, that's really going to be what digs up all of that dirt and grime and gets that tough stuff off. A dandy brush, which is a little bit firmer and just goes over and gets that dust off the coat, in a body brush. So having those variety of brushes helps knock all the dirt and dust off and gets your horse gleaming and gorgeous. And then for hoof care, making sure that you have a hoof pick to get in and get all the dirt and rocks and everything out of your horse's hooves to keep them clean and clear. And a hoof conditioner is recommended to help give your horses a moisture balance in their hoof, because with horses' hooves, you don't want them to be too dry. You don't want them to be too wet. This can cause a variety of issues and discomfort for them. So picking a good hoof conditioner to use once you've cleaned out your horse's hooves, both on the outside of the hoof wall and inside on the frog and the sole. And then for bathing, you want to make sure you've got a good shampoo. It's really essential to have a shampoo that is formulated specifically for horses, as their skin and their coat and everything is different than ours. So you want to make sure that you get something that's gentle and isn't going to irritate them. A bathing mitt is super, super handy. You can just slip it on your hand and get that big, nice area, spread the shampoo around, and then a sweat scraper. So when you rinse them off, getting that water off just helps them dry off. And then for hair care, getting their manes and tails looking beautiful and detangled. So you want to invest in a good mane and tail brush, and a detangling spray is going to help so much in getting knots and burrs and everything out of their mane and tail. And it's just going to make it a more pleasant experience for you and your horse.
So I just want to quickly talk about why grooming is so important. There's many aspects to why grooming can be an essential part to the care of your horse. So first is maintaining a healthy skin and coat. The skin is the biggest organ that horses have, so it's really important to keep it healthy. Grooming before and after rides can help loosen that dirt and any sweat that might be on them, left causing their skin to dry or build up and having any irritation, any kind of fungal issues that they could get from that dirt and bacteria getting on their skin and staying on for a long period of time. All of that elbow grease that you put in after your horse comes out from rolling in the mud in the spring and fall time really pays off by helping disperse your horse's natural oils throughout his coat and helping to keep it moisturized and healthy. It's also a great time to bond with your horse. Taking that time for daily grooming offers the opportunity to build a relationship with your horse outside of the saddle. Or if you have a horse that you're not able to ride anymore, both of my horses are pretty much at their retirement time, but I still spend a few times a week giving them a good brush down. And it's a really good opportunity for me to connect with them, even that they're in their retirement. And it's a great opportunity for us. This bonding time is enjoyable for your horse and stress reliever for you. We all love the time that we spend at the barn and get to spend it with our horses. And it allows you to become familiar with each of their habits and their little quirks that they have. Monitoring your horse's health. Grooming offers you a time to get your hands on your horse. You can see if they have any cuts, any scrapes, any areas that they're swollen, and it really allows you to be familiar with different things so that you can monitor it as they get older. And if they're losing any weight or any muscle, you can really, as we said before, have your hands on them and monitoring if there's any concerns that you need to talk to a vet about.
So we've got some little insider grooming tips for you. So our nose to toes grooming tip number one. So horses, a lot of horses have dark coats, bays, black horses. My horse, he's a dark bay. And in the summertime, horses with dark coats, manes and tails may be susceptible to sun bleaching if they spend a lot of time outside. So it makes sense. My hair gets lighter in the summer when I spend a lot of time outside, and my horse's beautiful black mane ends up getting a little orangey on the ends, which is kind of a funny thing that I didn't know could happen to horses. So with this, if it's a concern for you, you want to look for conditioning sprays that contain sunscreens to prevent this. They're super handy. You can spray them on the mane, coat and the tail, and you just spray on, brush it through, and then in turnout, it really prevents that sun bleaching from their coat and their mane and tail.
So the second tip that we have is when you're brushing your horse's either mane or tail, you want to start from the bottom and work your way up. This is going to prevent minimal breakage in their tails. You want to start working out any knots that they might have at the bottom. And as you get a smooth brush through, work your way inch by inch up. It's also helpful to use a detangler spray in there to help kind of loosen those knots and lubricate the way through. But as we said, working from the bottom to top is going to prevent minimal breakage. That way your horse can have as big and luscious as a tail as they can possibly have.
Our third tip is about hoof care. So as I mentioned before, a hoof conditioner is a really essential product to keep in your grooming kit. So they aren't just great for the outer hoof wall and helping make them shiny and healthy, but they can and they should be applied to the frog and the sole to the hoof as well. So in this picture, you see the horse's hoof. Once you've cleaned that all out with a hoof pick, and I highly recommend getting a hoof pick with a brush on the end because that's really, really helpful. So getting all that stuff out, you can take that hoof conditioner. Most of them come with a brush for application. You can just go in and brush the conditioner on their frog and sole, and this will help provide that moisture balance that I mentioned to prevent those issues or discomfort from being too wet or too dry, like cracking or something more serious like thrush.
The fourth tip that we have is very special to my heart with having a gray horse of my own and having a horse that loves to get dirty as well. Every morning before a show, I would come to find him laying in his poop or in something that he should not be in, covering in those pesky yellow stains, or coming in from the paddock covering in dirt. So it is essential to having a stain remover product on hand when you have a white horse, just to keep their lovely white or gray coat and as long as their mane and tail, because that always seems to get very yellowish. So when looking for a stain remover, you want to find one or look for one that does not have any bleaching agents in it. When you have a product that has bleaching agents, it's going to cause your horse's skin or mane and tail to get dry and brittle, and that's not what you want for them. You want it to be very moisturized. So finding a stain remover that does not have those bleaching agents is great. And then what I like to do when I'm giving my horse a bath is get them all nice and wet with the hose and then spray on that stain remover that we have on whatever areas are brown or yellow that I'm looking to treat. Spray that in ahead of time, take a scrub brush or a curry comb and kind of really work it in there, and then mix together my shampoo and sponge them over it and really scrub those areas again, and then rinse them off. And that usually leaves them very white after, but taking that extra step first of applying the stain remover really helps before bathing them.
Our final nose to toe grooming tip. So some horses don't like to be sprayed either on their body or their face. So something we recommend to do for your horse is to spray the product on a towel or a brush first, and then brush it over their face or their body. Some horses don't like the noise. They don't like being touched with spray liquid products. So this is just going to be more helpful for you and your horse if that's the case, so that you don't have to fight with them, but you can still, whether you need to apply fly spray or grooming spray, anything that you need to do. Some horses just prefer that.
So we also have some wonderful sponsored riders that have given wonderful grooming tips over the years. So we wanted to make sure we included those for you guys as well. So our first one is from Brad Barkemeyer, who whenever he enters the show pen, he knows that it's very important that his horse looks their very best to just help as you're riding as well. You always want to be turned out as best as you can. So his quote is, "My dad taught me that we weren't just using the horses as a tool to get the work done, but we were approaching them as horsemen, which meant caring for them and being stewards for their health and well-being." This goes back to why grooming is so important. Not only is it that time to bond with them, but make sure that you're caring for their skin. You're making sure that they're as healthy as they possibly can and giving them the care that they deserve.
Our second pro grooming tip comes from Julie Goodnight. She is a professional horse trainer and horsewoman. She has been a longtime user of Shipsheen. It's one of her favorite products. And she is a total grooming pro. She's got the best tips and tricks. So one of her tips that she's given to us, you want to start with a thorough bath using a shampoo made for horses. As I mentioned before, a horse's skin is 4 times more sensitive than a human's. So choosing a product that's pH balanced for horses' sensitive skin is really important.
And we have a quick video of Julie Goodnight's tail routine with Shoshin that we want to show you guys as well. So they start with thoroughly wetting the horse's tail. You're sure you're starting from the top to the bottom and really making sure every part of it is wet, and then diluting the shampoo in a bucket of water and really washing out that tail. You can see her doing that, getting the whole tail in there and then moving it up to the top. And then you're going to rinse out that shampoo thoroughly, and then they apply a detangler gel from the bottom to the top. Really, this allows to get any detanglers out, and then as well as applying a spray detangler as well. You can see here that this tail is tangle-free.
It's shiny, it's gorgeous.
It's what every girl dreams their horse tails look like. And here you can see how wonderful the tail looks. Our next tip is from Jonathan Miller, who is son to Ian Miller. He lives by the rule, no hoof, no horse. A healthy hoof is the foundation for the health of a horse. Hooflex Therapeutic Conditioner Liquid is a staple in their program, and no horse ever leaves the barn without it. Hooflex contains antibacterial and antifungal agents, and it helps prevent infection in both wet and dry condition. This keeps their horse's hoofs moisturized and strong. And you can see at the bottom some wonderful, very cute photos of Jonathan and Shadow. And the one to the left is my favorite, of Shadow trying to eat the Hooflex bottle. You can just see how much personality their horses have. We want to thank everyone for their time of sitting through this presentation. We love to share grooming tips and tricks with you guys. If anyone has any questions or concerns about grooming tips, My New Horse is a wonderful place to get education about this, as well as we are always happy to answer any questions at either absorbine.com or any of our socials. So thank you so much, everyone.
And thank you, Morgan Eileen, so much for that fun presentation. That was really awesome. And thank you to My New Horse's partner, Absorbine, for bringing us this information and all these wonderful products. For all of you out there, check back regularly on mynewhorse.com for more free webinars on practical horse care topics like this.